welcome to everyone who is an attendee here tonight. We are coming to the Say Hello to High-Low event. So tonight we are having readings and a little bit of chit chat about what inspired the books and why you love writing High-Low from Allison Finley, who wrote Below the Surface, Big Winner, written by Sylvia Taekema. We have Baby Drag Queen by C.A. Tanaka and Jean Mills, Wingman. So without further ado, we're going to get into what a high-low book is.
Hello and welcome to High-Low 101. My name's Olivia and I'm part of the team at Orca Book Publishers. And I'm excited to talk to you all today about our High-Low books. High-Low stands for High Interest, Low Reading Level. These are books specifically written and designed for striving readers who are reading below grade level. At Orca, we have a huge selection of High-Low books, but I want to share what makes our books in particular ultra-readable and accessible for all types of readers. From their very inception, our authors bring exciting, action-packed stories with relatable characters that grab readers from the very first page. Together with our editors, they refine and distill these stories into high-low format. That means straightforward and action-packed plots, shorter sentences, and simpler vocabulary without losing that high interest element of the story. Orca also pays extra attention to the design of the books themselves. We use a larger font size, increased spacing between the words and lines, a dyslexia-friendly font, and we print the books on cream paper to reduce contrast, all in an effort to remove any barriers or stopping points for the reader. At Orca, we have 3 main series of high-low books: Orca Currents for middle grade readers reading between a 2nd and 5th grade level, Orca Soundings for teens reading between a 2nd and 5th grade level, and finally our newest series, Orca Anchor for teens reading below a 2nd grade level. And now, without further ado, it's time to say hello to High-Low.
Hi everyone, I'm Allison Finley and I wrote Below the Surface. It has hidden treasure, it has a ghost, and it has a cold case. But really it's about Theo, who spends his hot summer days swimming in his local river. And he finds all sorts of things like sunglasses and phones and rings, and he always does his best to try to return them to their owners. But one day he finds an old pocket watch that's been down there for a few decades. Now, his best friend Sid thinks that it belongs to the ghost that haunts the bridge, but Theo doesn't believe in ghosts, so he's got a bit of a mystery on his hands. Now, the inspiration for this really came from 3 places. First, when I was in the middle grade reading bracket, I absolutely devoured Nancy Drew books, like by the Costco 3-pack, if you remember those bright yellow covers. And so I've always been in love with, kid mystery books. The second place is my own local river, which I've spent many an afternoon exploring with my dog, looking for hidden beaches and such. And the third place is this really niche category of YouTube videos made by people just like Theo, who explore their local lakes and rivers with metal detectors, trying to see what they can find. Now, they usually just find cans and fishing lures and things, and occasional phones. But they never found what I was hoping for, which was, some old artifact with a story behind it. So writing this book was really me writing what I wanted to see happen in real life. So I'm going to read for you a little bit from chapter 3, when Theo has just discovered the attention that his phone is getting on his social feed. And the only clue he has so far as to who it belonged to are the initials JR engraved in the back. So, my phone makes a quiet ping in my back pocket. When I fish it out, I reread the number of notifications 3 times and still don't believe it. I couldn't hear my phone over the mower. It looks like the watch is popular. My usual number of likes on a post is under 10, with 1 or 2 comments at most. The watch has over 20 comments already, and they keep coming. Most of them are variations on "wow" and "so neat" and other obvious things. But one of my followers, Dane Stone 77, wrote, "Great find. Is that a 1905 Nomos?" and tagged a user called Clockwork Carl. That's never happened before. A light, tingly feeling starts in my toes and crackles to the top of my head. Dane Stone, 77, vice president of the local metadetecting club, took notice of me. He always posts the coolest things. Guess I finally found something the serious treasure hunters are into. This pocket watch doesn't exactly have a contact list I can call to figure out who JR is. There have probably been hundreds of JRs who have lived here over the years. Sid said I could return it to whoever dropped it, but there's just no way. It's too old and I don't have any decent clues to go on. But I don't like giving up. Dane Stone 77 and Clockwork Carl want to know the make of the watch. I want to know who dropped it, even if I can't return it to them. Otherwise, it's incomplete, an open-ended mystery. I've got to know the truth. I'm not alone either. Among the wow and cool comments, a few people have made wild guesses as to who might have dropped it. A lord on a horse or a young lady fleeing an engagement in the middle of the night? No way. They've been watching the same shows as my mom. But one comment isn't like the rest. A fist squeezes the air out of my lungs. It's a short comment, but it gets the point across. That's not yours. Give it back or else. I'm too frozen to move, but under the cold, gripping fear is a thought. Someone knows who JR is, and they don't want me to know. Thanks very much.
I am Jean Mills, the author of Wingman. And this is the story of a teen hockey player who's trying to keep his teammates safe, both on and off the ice. It's my first book for Orca Books, but I am the author of a number of other young adult novels. And I've written about hockey before because it's a sport I love. But of course, we all know hockey is in the news right now. And it's especially concerning the dark side of hockey that we've been hearing about. So Wingman does address that dark side a little bit, especially the issue of parental pressure and the effects on young athletes. But this is also the story of teammates supporting each other, of loyalty, of friendship, and of resilience. So I was inspired because I love sport, but it's also, interestingly enough, this story started as a short story in a anthology of stories for boys. It was originally called Loud, and it focused on the main character who is a star hockey player, but something bad happens in a game. This isn't a spoiler. He basically scores on his own net. And it's about the pressure on him, how he goes silent and inside himself and feels that he's let everyone down. And his friend sticks by him and tells him it's going to be okay. And in the end, it is. He goes, he scores, and everything gets loud. It was a lovely short story, but it wasn't enough for a complete novel. So I had to bring some other tensions and some other things, characters and so on into it. So that's where the story came from. I'm going to read from very early in the book. At this point, Max, our narrator, and his best friend and team captain, Trace, they've just lost the important game because Trace has scored on their own net. And Trace has suddenly gone silent and distant. And it's not like him. And Max is very worried. So this is right after the game and our teams go out for handshakes. Excuse me while I just. Okay. The Cougars are already lined up and waiting to do the handshake line. We skate in behind Dev and start the ritual of tapping gloves and saying good game over and over to these jerks. I'm in the line behind Trace. I guess he might be mumbling good game with every glove tap, but I'm not sure. It's torture to skate past these guys. All of them grinning, laughing, hooting, enjoying how the game ended. Yeah, there's nothing like seeing the other team's star player mess up, right? And then we get to Jared. Good game, he says as he bumps Trace's glove a little harder than he needs to. He moves on to me and leans in a little so both Trace and I can hear. Thanks, boys. That was fun. The ref is right there, of course. He's not stupid. Keep moving, he yells as I shove Jared's glove so hard it bounces off his fishbowl helmet. We keep moving. Oh, it's fun, all right. The dressing room is quiet as we get changed. Coach comes in to make sure we're moving it along, but he doesn't say anything to us. He doesn't need to. Trace is the first one out. His hair is still plastered to his sweaty forehead as he silently stuffs his gear into the bag. He stands up, grabs his bag and sticks. He glances at me, and I think maybe he's finally going to say something. I wait, raise my eyebrows, send him a silent, hey, what's up? But he just looks away and walks toward the door. We hear Coach say, let it go, son. See you at practice on Tuesday, right? Maybe Trace nods or waves or something. Not a word. Dev and Mitch and Frankie and I look at each other. The whole room pauses for a second, and we're all thinking the same thing. What's up with Trace? We need Trace. He's our leader, our guy, the one with the words to get us going, the one who wins games for us, the one who makes us all better. But Trace is gone somewhere. One mistake on the ice, and he's gone. What's up? Dad texts me from the car where he and Mom are waiting for me. Drive through? Sure, I'll be right out. I grab my stuff and stand up. Everybody seems to be moving slowly tonight, but I just want to get out of here. Burger and fries sound good to me right now. See you at practice, I say to the guys, nods a few words. Hey guys, we've got this, right? Some grins, more nods, a bit more energy as the guys look up and agree. Yeah, we do. Usually it would be Trace standing here giving the pep talk. Doesn't feel right. I'm the wingman, not the captain. It's weird. But then this whole post-game scene has been weird. Yes, I definitely need some fast food. Thank goodness I have parents who understand this. But Trace doesn't have parents like mine. Nope. Trace has a father who is yelling at him as I walk through the dark parking lot toward our car. You think that's going to get you anywhere near a pro contract? Crap like that? I hear them, but I can't see them. They're around the corner of the building where it's darker. I don't know if I should go over or not. I keep walking toward our car, but glance in the direction of the sound. Yes, there they are, the dark part of the lot near the back exit. The car trunk is open, but Mr. Brewster is in the way, so Trace is still holding his sticks with his hockey bag over his shoulder. He looks down and leans back as his dad leans in. Loser, loser, his dad hisses at him, just loud enough for me to hear. Thank you. Wingman.
Hello, my name is Sylvia Taekema, and this is my new title in the Orca Currents High-Low series, Big Winner. Well, here's a question for you. What would you do if you had $1 million? In real money, of course, $1 million. Woohoo! Would you buy a house? A fancy car? Would you go on a trip? Would you buy a ton of candy? A ton of pizza? Books? Would you save it for later? Would you give it away? These are some of the questions I started asking when I saw an article in my local newspaper about someone who had won a lot of money. What would they do with it, I wondered. And then I started to wonder more things. How would it feel to suddenly have so much money? How would you react? And how would your friends react? Would you become a different person? Would they? How might your life change? These are the questions that got me started on Big Winner. It's a story about Sky, a 14-year-old who, in being made to pack up her life and move across the country, feels she has lost everything. And it's a story about Digby, a young man from a group home who somehow seems to have it all. Here's a sneak peek from the book. To set the scene, Sky and Digby are at the coffee shop where they both work. The place is just humming, and Sky asks Digby if he knows why it's so busy. I swept an arm out toward the buzzing crowd. There's a lot of people here today. Do you know what they're talking about? Everyone seems super excited about something. Digby grinned. They're all talking about the lottery ticket. Somebody won $1 million, and whoever has the winning ticket bought it right here in Kentville at the convenience store. Mr. Lemsky showed me the story in the newspaper. He showed me the numbers. Digby looked up at the ceiling as if the numbers were pasted there. He crinkled his forehead. 10, 21, 4, 28, 7, 16. $1 million, I ask? Wowzers! I bet everybody's trying to remember if they bought a ticket or where they might have put it. You think it's someone who actually lives in Kentville? What do you think they're going to do with all that money? Digby laughed. That's what everyone's talking about. $1 million! Hoo-wee! I took a deep breath and looked out over the crowd again. It's like a fever, isn't it? A frenzy. Delirium. That's the word for this. Digby smiled. Delirium. That's a good word. You always come up with the best words, Sky. I really did like words. I collected them. Every now and then I'd slip a new one into the conversation or into one of my stories. I had added gobsmacked to my word list not too long ago, and I was waiting for the perfect occasion to use it. I liked having the right word at the right time. Except I couldn't come up with the right word for what Digby said next. In fact, I couldn't come up with any words at all. He was shaking his head. Yeah, delirium, frenzy, fever. Then he leaned down and whispered to me, I have it. Now I was the one with the crinkled forehead. I looked at him. You have what, Digby? A fever? I stepped back. He shook his head. The ticket. What ticket? The ticket everyone is talking about. That's a quick preview. Reviewers are calling it enjoyable, accessible, humorous, and heartwarming. I'm happy with that. And I hope readers are too.
Hi, everyone. I'm C.A. Tanaka, and I'm a first-time author with Orca Books. I want to give thanks to the people that helped to get Baby Drag Queen published. So shout outs to YA author Tash McAdam and editors Tanya and Doan as well, and Olivia and Paul for helping out with marketing and tech. I started my serious writing journey a bit later in life than most, as I initially went to college to study accounting, mostly because I just wanted to move out of the house, then later went on to art school. I started writing when I was a kid, but never thought it was something that I could do for real. Then through a series of serendipitous events, I eventually found my way to the SFU Writers Studio, where I became part of the writing community. This is my first YA book, and as others have mentioned, writing YA can be a bit of a challenge when you're used to writing in other genres. I do host Twitter chats and sprints for SFU's Writers Studio on the 2nd and 4th Sundays of the month, so if you are interested and you're a writer, it'd be great to have more writers join in. Now, the main reason why I wanted to write this book is because I wish I had access to stories with more diverse characters when I was a teenager. Here's the synopsis from the back cover. Ichiro is a transgender teen in his senior year of high school. He works part-time as a dishwasher to help support his single mother. But it's not enough. Ichiro dreams of buying a camper van for the two of them so they can live off the grid and not have to worry about money anymore. When a local club announces a drag contest with a big cash prize, Ichiro jumps at the chance to enter. But there's one problem. Nobody knows he does drag. If his friends discover his secret, Ichiro has no idea how they will react. I'm going to read you a little bit from chapter 9 when Ichiro has just finished working a shift at Cafe Ivy and comes home. His mother isn't around yet, so he goes into her room and starts playing around with her lipstick. He hears his mom's keys in the door. "Mom, you're so late." She comes over to give Ichiro a hug. Then she takes off her jacket and collapses on the couch. She pats the cushion beside her. "Come, sit. Let's talk about that vehicle. What's it called?" "A camper van," says Ichiro. "We buy one and move to the island. I have money saved up." Show me what you mean," she says. Ichiro goes and grabs his laptop. "It's small, but we'd use it only for sleeping. There are campgrounds with showers if we move around. This one comes with a portable toilet and sink." "Too small," she says. "But think of the freedom. You can quit your job and look for something else while I work and go to uni." "No, Ichiro, you should be enjoying your life with your friends." She trails off as she stares at him. "What's on? Are you wearing lipstick?" Ichiro realizes too late that he has forgotten to take it off. "Yes, Mom, it's for a show. I'm thinking of doing drag. There's a club that..." "Drag? A club? What do you mean? No daughter of mine is going to a place like that." She makes a funny sour face and shakes her head. "Mom, I'm trans." Ichiro feels like he might die. "What does that mean?" She sounds angry. "For me, it means I'm not your daughter. I'm your child, but I'm not a girl." "Ichiro, what are you saying? Why are you making my life difficult right now? I can't take this. At this youth club, I can make some extra money. You will not be going to that club." "It's not a big deal. It's work." He shrugs his shoulders. "Well, then I'm going to start dating my boss. It's what he wants, and it will make our lives easier." "No, Mom," he's glaring at her. "Yes, I have to, only for now. He's not that bad. I'll find another job soon." "Just wait, please. I'll have enough money for a down payment soon." Auntie Edna said, "Stop. I don't want to hear any more about her. She's going to help so that we can..." "Stop it right now," she yells. But he can't give up. "You have to let me do this. Let me help you." "No, you stop now." She sounds as if she's going to cry. "I'm going to the club and see what Sam's friend has to say. You will not go to that club, Ichiro. This is going nowhere." Ichiro stomps to his room and slams his door. He is old enough to make his own decisions. Although he's always listened to his mother, now he has no choice but to defy her. He can hear her standing outside his door. Ichiro starts playing a video game. He won't be sleeping or doing any homework tonight. His mother bangs on his door and tries to open it. She's never been this mad before. He can hear her sobbing outside his door, but he can't open it tonight. After a few minutes, she finally leaves. Thank you.
So excited to read this book, CA.
Thanks, Paul.
We've been emailing back and forth, and I think you know my excitement that this is totally up my alley. I was excited to see it in the catalog. I'm going to start with you, CA. What excites you about writing for a high-low reader? And then we'll bring Allison and Jean on to answer as well.
Sure. I think it's just the challenge. And I think, like I mentioned, I really enjoy, writing diverse characters and, the dialogue too, just to try and get in the head of a teenager sort of in the high-low category. I found that a really interesting challenge because I'm so used to writing in other genres and in other ways. So yeah, that's for me.
Yeah, it is quite interesting having to adjust your writing style, but I found it quite liberating actually. I think it made me a better writer for my non-high-low stuff as well. And I just love, meeting readers where they are and just sharing, great stories with everyone, regardless of, what challenges they might have, Yeah.
For me, coming from, what will we call it, traditional young adult writing, I'm all about language, style, the use of words, that kind of thing. So making the transition to high-low meant that I had to really play with that. I found it quite technical, in fact, and I really enjoyed that. But I also believe you can take really big ideas, really big feelings, really big things, and you can express them in language that isn't really big. So that was the two sides of high-low: the language, the ideas, the feelings that I just embraced. I really enjoyed it.
And I'm sure we all, everyone in the audience, and I think all of us would agree, the high-low reader is a very discerning reader. They're very, very intelligent and very smart. They might not have the skills to get through a traditional length novel. So what do you think of, what reader do you imagine when you're starting in on a project like this? And Jean, I'm going to put you on the spot first.
What reader do I imagine?
Yeah.
Well, for this story, I imagined that kid sitting in the arena, skating on the ice. I mean, I imagined a sports kid, you know, who doesn't have time to read books, who doesn't have time to indulge in language, who just wants to get out there and do it. So I really had that reader in mind as I was writing the story, along with any other reader who wants something fast-paced and page-turner and full of feelings and things that they can think about and talk about. Does that answer your question, Paul?
Totally answers it. CA, Allison, do you want to add anything, or can I throw another question at you?
Well, I guess briefly, I didn't have a specific reader in mind, but I was trying to think of like, okay, I'm competing with screens and like really exciting action things and stuff, and potentially also with the lure of the outdoors, you know, because Theo is like loves spending his time outdoors and stuff. So, you know, there's always those kids who don't want to be sitting inside reading a book. They want to be out having an adventure. So, you know, kind of wanted to be like, look, you can have an adventure in a book too. So, yeah.
And see, I know you briefly touched on you're imagining a particular reader and adding content where there wasn't content, so filling a gap.
Yeah, I think I sort of imagined, queer teens sort of just exploring the world and just being comfortable. There's a little bit of a romance in the novel as well, and just something that will help them express themselves. Like there's a lot of creativity. They talk about art and things like that as well. So I think that's the reader, the readers that I imagined.
And I think all your answers show that the high-low reader could be any reader with any interest. There's such a broad range in the catalog for people to choose from. You're nodding because, I just stated the obvious. Orca's done a great job at curating this list and bringing a lot of different content to their readers, so that a lot of different interests and readers are represented.
And it's so great that it's come out too. Sorry to jump in there, but like I've had to explain what high-lows are to a lot of people over the last couple of years. And so often the response I get is like, oh, I need books like that. And like, I'm talking to someone in their like 30s, right? And it's like, yeah, I don't remember having these, when we were in like the middle grade and YA brackets. And I'm just so glad that they're out there and we can share them.
One last question, and then we're going to say good thank you and good night to everyone. What drag song do you want to see performed or perform yourself? So CA, I'm going to throw it to you first. And it can be whatever is on your playlist today. It doesn't have to be of all time.
Well, one of the ones in the book, actually, I would love to see is a version of, Miley Cyrus does an excellent version of Jolene. So I would just love to see that performed live by a drag performer. And I'm sure that they've done it before, but that's my song of choice. Maybe, there'll be someone in the audience that'll see at a show that will do that number in the Miley Cyrus style.
And it can change in 5 minutes, your answer. There's not a limit on this one.
I think I'm gonna go like real left field indie here. I don't know how it would translate to drag, but I could totally see doing it, which is Who's the Madman by Louise Burns. Could definitely get like a good goth act going in there, I think.
Okay, I'm going Britney Spears, Hit Me Baby One More Time.
Always
That work?
good. Always good. Always a classic. It's like I Will Survive. You can do Britney anytime you want.
Okay.
So I'll say the thank you unless someone else wants to jump in. Thank you to all three of you for being here tonight. Thank you for jumping in with all the technical help that you provided and also for sharing your new works. They look like great news stories, and I hope that the audience will pick up. Thank you, audience, for being here, and thank you, Orca Books. So good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thanks
Thanks,
for hosting.
everyone.